Hello friends, welcome to Total Recaps. Today we are going to explain a movie named Tai Chi Zero, released in 2012. So sit with popcorn and enjoy this interesting action/martial arts film. A child named Lu Chan is born at the beginning of the film. Lu Chan is a mysterious child with unusual markings on his head. This implies that he has unparalleled strength and power. Despite this, his father does not care for him. Despite his wealth, everything seemed to be in order. He remains unconcerned about his family. His mother, unlike his father, adores Lu Chan. He has grown up to be 7 to 8 years old in a short period of time. However, we can see that his father's situation was very similar. It appears that he has abandoned them, and as a result, they are experiencing several eating and living difficulties. Lu Chan's mother was caught stealing edibles one day. As a result, the authorities have sentenced her to various punishments. Lu Chan, on the other hand, is seen in the market, eating chocolate and watching a game show. Meanwhile, a child approaches and grabs his chocolate in front of a large crowd. When Lu Chan notices this, he pursues them, but the youngster and his friends mock him. Along with this, they torture him by removing his cap and striking his mark, causing him to pass out from the pain. Lu Chan awakens after a while and, using his abilities, defeats each of the boys one by one. After a while, some of the people who had come to stop Lu Chan, a man of King, was also there in the market. Because of his superpowers, he is highly amazed and invites Lu Chan to join him. Outside the palace, Lu Chan's mother is thrown. We can see that she is in horrible shape because she is severely injured. The commander also meets Lu Chan's mother and informs her that he wants to keep her son. As a result, as he grows up, he may become a well-known warrior. Because of his special abilities and strength, his mother believes he could teach him Kung Fu. He'll train him and turn him into a fine warrior. Along with that, he'll look after his son. That is why she agrees to keep Lu Chan with the man. His mother passes away after a while. As a result, Lu Chan becomes depressed and eventually breaks down. As a result, he starts living with that commander. After a few years, we notice Lu Chan has matured. He is now a member of the king's army. He also takes part in a war. He was fighting like a regular person, and the king's army was losing. Meanwhile, a man assaults Lu Chan and knocks him out. He continues to strike his target, causing the mark to enlarge and become black. Lu Chan, meantime, awakens and his eyes begin to flash brightly. He starts killing the men of the enemy army one by one. He dominates them and defeats them all in no time. As a result, the king is victorious in the war. Lu Chan's condition was not good, and it was becoming worse. It is for this reason that he has gone to the hospital. The doctor examines the mark and asks a few questions about himself. He inquires as to why you continue to fight. The commander has requested me to do this, according to Lu Chan. He claims that the more I struggle, the stronger I will become strong. The doctor informs him that it has no benefit for him, because the more people who hit your target, the darker it grows. You'll be killed the day this mark turns fully black. As a result, no one should be allowed to touch this mark. When it comes to the commander, he is a terrible person. He'll do anything for money and doesn't actually care about anyone. However, you must take care of yourself and your life. Your Kung Fu is sucking all of your energy out of your body. As a result, you'll get so weak that you'll die within a few days. You should, however, learn Shaolin Kung Fu. As a result, your power will increase rather than decrease. This Shaolin Kung Fu is a type of martial arts. People, in order to protect themselves and save their lives, do not for harming others. However, there is a minor problem. Outsiders are not permitted to learn Shaolin Kung Fu. After learning everything, Lu Chan approaches the doctor and asks where he can learn Kung Fu. The doctor advises him to go to the village where he can learn this Kung Fu. The commander appears during their talk. An argument between the command and the doctor begins. They start fighting after a while, and the doctor fights aggressively. To defend himself, he employs Shaolin Kung Fu. Lu Chan was also admiring his abilities and was shocked. He develops an interest in learning Kung Fu. As we can see, the enemies attack them at night, and fire breaks out all over the place. Lu Chan has to leave, but before he meets with the doctor, he inquires about the village, where I am able to train Shaolin Kung Fu. The doctor gives him the address and informs him that he must learn from the master. Lu Chan sets out on his trip to reach his destiny. He walked for days through many villages. It signifies from one village to the next, and to the third village. When he discovers that the settlement is surrounded by a mountain, he knows he must go there. After some time, he arrives at his destination. This was a little settlement nestled in the foothills of a large mountain range. It was also isolated from the rest of the world. This community had a total of 40 to 50 dwellings. However, they accept their culture, behavior, lifestyles, and concepts. They are aware of them and hold them in high regard. They have to isolate themselves from Western civilization. He starts looking for the great master as soon as he enters the village. Everyone, though, asks him, "Have you come to learn Shaolin Kung Fu?" When he replies yes, the villagers protest, "Our art of ours, this Kung Fu, cannot be taught to strangers. This work will only be seen in our village because it cannot be taken outside." As a result, they request that Lu Chan leave the village. Lu Chan sits down after being furious and disappointed. Meanwhile, a car arrives, carrying Yuni and Xing. Meanwhile, Xing's car collides with Lu Chan, causing him to fall far away, and he passes out, and Yuni, in an attempt to reawaken him, comes up to him and asks, "Are you all right?" Lu Chan, however, gets up after seeing such a lovely girl. Yuni was, in fact, the Grand Master's daughter. Meanwhile, we notice that Yuni was accompanied by a boy, Xing, who was an officer. He grew up in the same village, although he wasn't a native of it. It denotes that he doesn't belong to this village. He proceeded to England for further education, where he learned several technologies of the train and other companies. He wants to bring an East India Company train. Along with him, Yuni calls a meeting in the village. Here Xing keeps a proposal of a railway in front of everyone, because their village was surrounded by high mountains. That's why people feel problems traveling. That's why he wants to dig the mountains to bring the train here, because it was going to benefit after the train arrived. In addition, electricity was soon to arrive. At the moment, he was giving a demonstration of everything. Unfortunately, his machine has short-circuited in the meanwhile. As a result, the fire spreads across there. The peasants begin to move from there after seeing this. That is why they also deny the train. When Xing sees this, he feels terrible and becomes enraged. When Yuni arrived at her residence the next day, Lu Chan appears and inquires about the Grand Master's location. Yuni informs him that there is a forest across the way. There is a monastery there, and a Grand Master can be found. The forest appeared to be a long distance away, but Lu Chan made it there. He discovers that no one lives in the monastery after visiting it. That's why, when he returns, he questions Yuni about it. When Yuni was going to leave angrily, Lu Chan grabbed her. Yuni defeats him with her action, Kung Fu. Both of them are fighting hard, but Yuni has the upper hand. As a result, Lu Chan's health deteriorates. Yuni grabs him with 4 fingers at one point during the fight. When he becomes fully weak, Yuni throws Lu Chan down the house. Lu Chan sustains an injury as a result of this. Meanwhile, a village worker welcomes Lu Chan into his home. Lu Chan also asks him if he can teach him Kung Fu. No, he adds, "I'm just an everyday worker who has no idea about this all." The man understands Lu Chan and requests that he return. We see Yuni and Xing late at night, and Xing is upset about his failure on the villagers. Yuni's family was enormous and wealthy. Xing ends his relationship with Yuni as a result of his rage, because there is no comparison between the two families. Because his family was not native to the area, the people will refuse to accept him. That's why Xing storms out of there, enraged. He feels so enraged that the next day he goes to the government office, and he gets authorization to build the train without the villagers' permission. The East India Company was supposed to assist him with this project. Lu Chan used to be thrashed for days by the villagers in the village. By doing so, he is able to mimic their movements and practice in the forest. Meanwhile, the worker returns, having saved his life. Lu Chan informs him that he has learned the basic Kung Fu in this manner. After hearing this, the worker assures him that everything is fine. But remember what I said the next time you're fighting with someone and remind them of their next move that they'll use against you, and then you turn around and employ the same moves on them. Lu Chan went to the village the next day and was challenged by a boy. He warns Lu Chan that if he falls, the 2 fu would be placed on his head. You'll win, and their war will begin in the meanwhile. Lu Chan was initially trounced by him, but after a while, he began to mimic the boy's movements. In response, he begins to beat the youngster in his usual style. Someone pulls him during the battle, and Lu Chan falls on the boy, and the 2 fu that was in his hand falls to the ground. Lu Chan wins this way, but he points out that he was dragged. He believes he may be the Grand Master, which is why he travels to discover him. However, he is unable to locate him, but Yuni recognizes the person who has pushed him. Yuni goes to him since he is the one who is training him in Kung Fu. She chastises him since he has disobeyed the village's norms. We now know that the worker was the one who pushed him. Yuni informs him that this Kung Fu cannot be taught to any outsiders. However, the man claims that I did not teach him anything since he refuses to listen. Rather, he has picked up on everything from the people around him. After stating this, the worker walks away. The next day, a massive machine arrives in their community. As a result, the village is rocked by a tremendous earthquake. As a result, the village suffers. This machine was actually carried by Xing, who was accompanied by his co-workers. The girl was a college classmate of Xing. She has been working beside him on this project. Xing appears in front of the people and warns everyone to leave the village within 7 days. Otherwise, their hamlet will be destroyed by this machine. When Yuni sees Xing, she screams at him and tells him to stop. However, Xing activates the machine by signaling his co-worker. As a result, the village's gate is broken. A meeting is organized in the community when things have returned to normal. However, their great master, for whom Lu Chan was looking, was not present. Yuni grows enraged as he watches this, and we see Lu Chan with the worker. The worker requests that Lu Chan assist the community in order for the villagers to respect him. Lu Chan has a fantastic opportunity if he accepts him together with this. The man afterward tosses Lu Chan into that massive machine. Lu Chan goes inside to see how it works and brings back a lot of information. The colleague informs Xing the same night that she likes him him and wants to marry him. Xing rejects her and adds, "I can't be in any relationship until I prove myself to the villagers." She wishes to return to England after hearing about Xing's rejection. Despite this, Xing informs his co-worker, "I'm not marrying you, but I always liked you." Yuni was hearing to it all and feeling awful, so she rags. Meanwhile, Yuni discovers a book that contains the machine's manual. That is why Yuni steals the book in secret. Lu Chan and the worker go to dismantle the machine the next day. They were accompanied by Yuni was also present, and they proceeded to blast the machine. Yuni informs Lu Chan that we must proceed to the control room described in the book. Meanwhile, they start looking for it in new places. They eventually discover the main control room. Meanwhile, Xing arrives and prevents them from carrying out their plan. Yuni ignores him and pushes a rod into the main machine. As a result, the machine as a whole shorted out. Blasts start to go off all over the place after a bit. During all of this, Xing's colleague is hurt. As a result, she dies, and Yuni passes out. Lu Chan carries her in front of the villagers after holding her. In the meantime, the Great Master arrives. We might deduce from this that the Grand Master was the worker who assisted Lu Chan. "I don't want any villagers involved in this battle," the worker says. That is why, with the help of Lu Chan, I intend to destroy this machine because a foreign colleague of Xing has died and the East India Company is planning to attack us. That is why everyone in the village prepares for the war. Their army will attack them in a few days. The villagers were all ready to fight, and the Grand Master was among them. A great war breaks out between them during this time, and Xing flees with his allies. During the battles in this conflict, Lu Chan also fainted. His black scar on his head got black as a result of this. He was about to die as a result of this. They all proceed to the village's head. As Lu Chan has learned their kung fu, that's why he'll be punished. Grandmaster and his daughter Yuni, on the other hand, refused to make this decision. Punishment was compulsory for Lu Chan. Meanwhile, Yuni reminds the virtues of KN Lu Chan. He's guarded the community so that it can study kung fu. He has put his own life on the line for the benefit of the villagers. Yuni admires his actions, which is why she makes her decision public. Despite the fact that Lu Chan is not from this village, I will marry him. However, after we marry, he will become a member of my family, and he'll become a resident of this community. Grand Master is ecstatic as he hears this. Lu Chan's life will be safe in this way. We see them married in the next scene. We can observe the charges levied by the East India Company. They'll arrive with their army soon to attack this village. This film ends with this.